What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. And it is my first Philadelphia Eagles 2023 NFL mock draft here on the C4 YouTube channel. We are a week. Next Thursday is the 2023 NFL draft. I will be live streaming the draft here on the C4 channel. Philadelphia, 2 first-round picks. I'm sure we're going to have some fun reactions, some great reactions the whole night. So stop on through if you guys are going to be around. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people also streaming. So, hey, if you just dip in around the Eagles picks, I won't hold it against you, but we're going to be having a good time reacting to all things 2023 NFL draft. And we're going to do a 7-round Eagles mock draft here today. On my Patreon, not to shadily plug it, but I have finished my offensive rankings tonight. I got all the positions. I'm going to go hard on getting the defense done. So it's a good way to go above and beyond to support the channel. And I have all my positions and breakdowns and player comparisons over there. And every single Patreon tier gets access to that. But I've also been uploading a lot of content over the last week or so on my secondary channel, More C4. So if you're a follower on this channel and you like the Eagles content, you like draft content, make sure you go subscribe. It's in the description below to go to More C4. I broke down the Hurts contract extension. We talked about the running backs that make sense for the Philadelphia Eagles here. Talked about some quarterbacks, some backup quarterbacks I think could make sense for the Eagles. And as you can see, pretty much any time something big would happen for the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to upload it over there because YouTube doesn't really like a lot of mixing and matching with content on specific channels. I feel like when I was uploading just random ass football related videos and Eagles related videos, it kind of hurt my Madden content. So primarily, there's going to be 90% Madden content, 10% football content, and at any other time there's something else, I'm uploading it on the secondary channel. So go subscribe to that if you already haven't. So let's get into our mock draft here. 7 rounds for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is, I'm using NFL Mock Draft Database, alloneword.com's mock draft tool. It's one of my favorite ones. Usually it's fairly realistic. I don't know how much it would be with C.J. Stroud still being there at 10, is what it is. But that's how much we can do. We're having fun with this simulation. It's a simulation. It might not be true. But sitting here at pick 10, my first course of business is to see if we can trade down. Because we don't have a crazy haul of picks going. So right now we can move down to 13. We get an additional 5 and 6. I don't hate that. I'm absolutely not taking that one. 17 and a 5th future. 5th. Ugh. I might have to. Okay, we got 18, a 2nd. Ooh. I'm going to take that one. That's the pick. That's the one we got to do because I'm pretty sure we could still get our guy. That's why you trade down. I'm staying here at pick 18. The dream scenario, I think, for the Philadelphia Eagles. So many people are against selecting Bijan Robinson at pick 10. But I think if we could find a way to get that haul that we did from the Detroit Lions, move down to 18, get a 2nd round, a 5th round, a 6th round pick. That is the range to get Bijan Robinson. Now, here's why you get Bijan Robinson. I talked about it on my second channel. 1, he's the most impactful rookie that we can get at this point. 2, we just paid Jalen Hurts today. How do you take away some of the wear and tear on Jalen Hurts as a dual threat? You get a bona fide stud in the backfield. As much as we like to respect the committee approach, maybe Rashad Penny stays healthy for once, and Kenny Gainwell continues to play like he did during the playoff run, and we build through the trenches. We have an expensive offensive line and a cheap running back room. That's wishful thinking. But you know what? If you add Bijan Robinson, who if they ran this card up, Bijan Robinson at pick 18, we're going to make it in a second. As soon as I make it, it's going to move on. I want to stay here for a second. He's going to be a top 10 running back in the NFL. And expectations of being a top 5 running back in the Philadelphia Eagles offense. So Bijan Robinson makes the offensive line better, makes the receivers better. He makes Jalen Hurts better. He makes our running back room better. Philly needs a 4th receiving option. This is what I talked about in my other video, right? Now, a lot of people say we need a new slot wide receiver. Quez Watkins is not it. And, Jackson Smith-NJIGBA has been a name potentially, or investing elsewhere. But, we need that 4th option. He's our 4th option. He's not only going to be our star running back, he's going to be our 4th receiving option as well. So he just ticks a lot of boxes, blue chip player. And there's some people, you can see, that are just over the top, Bijan Robinson has to be our pick. I understand the Howie Roseman mentality of it's still probably not going to happen. Even if they trade back here, I could see them just going Nolan Smith or Joey Porter or something like that. But I just hate how much this fan base, the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, is against getting Bijan Robinson. It's like they're blinded by this long, like, do you want a project player? You want to grab a project tackle? You want to grab a rotational defensive lineman? I mean, obviously, I think Nolan Smith would be very interesting. But at this point, Nolan Smith is going to be the guy that comes in when Hassan Reddick gets tired. That's what you want at pick 18. That's what you want for the team that was a quarter away from winning the Super Bowl last year. We need another rotational pass rusher. Corner was a big need for the Philadelphia Eagles. Joey Porter Jr., Deontay Banks is a freak athlete. We need the backups. We need that guy. We need that guy that if Slay or Bradbury go down and they don't play most of the season, did they even miss any games last year? But if they get hurt, we need that corner 3 that can step up. Or do we just get the fucking guy that's going to elevate the entire team? And you know what you can also do with Bijan Robinson? You can still just rotate in Kenny Gainwell and Rashad Penny and all those guys. You still have the committee approach. It's the guy, man. Trading down and getting Bijan Robinson as it stands right now. If we have no intentions of trading up to get Will Anderson, trading up to get Jalen Carter, you kind of need to do that. And look how close that would have been. If there was a way that we could have got Bijan Robinson at 18 and Nolan Smith at 30, that would have been that's the dream start there. So we're sitting pick 30. We got an unreal roll because our next pick's fairly obvious. Now, how obvious is it with the rumors that Budda Baker could be available? Is that something that Howie Roseman's going to consider? Budda Baker? I would. And of all the big rumors we've had for Philadelphia this year, in terms of trade rumors, I mean, the biggest ones, Devin White has got a lot of smoke recently that, like, maybe Philly's going to be interested in Devin White. He's, like, commenting on a lot of Eagles social media and stuff. We had, what was the other trade? There's someone else I'm blanking on. I literally just tweeted about it. Either way, Budda Baker would make a whole lot of sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles do value these safety positions. Much as we think they don't, with the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson situation, they do. Like, we paid Malcolm Jenkins. We paid Roddy McLeod a decent amount of money when he was a free agent. We, by all reports, put a big offer on Marcus Williams last year before he signed with the Baltimore Ravens. So, I mean, you can still make where you still get Budda Baker and bring in Brian Branch. I mean, looking where else we could go. I mean, there's some options. There's smoke right now that Tomi Adebaware is a Howie Roseman favorite. I mean, for me and my money, I'd rather just go Milton Williams. Get Milton, like him and Milton Williams. When you look at the RAS, it's almost identical. Athletically speaking, he's like literally a clone. Like the closest comp, if you were making a player comp, athletically, to Adebaware, whose big thing was he was 280 pounds, ran a 4.49. He's literally almost a perfect like for like in almost every category as Milton Williams. So why not we just give Milton Williams another opportunity, right? Give him more snaps. I think he could be a breakout player. Looking at the rest of the picks, I mean, DeJuan Jones, you could prioritize the trenches here a little bit. But I think given the value, given how good of a player this guy is, we're going to grab Brian Branch, the safety out of Alabama. He could still be there. I'm not going to say on this side he's 24th. I think the fact that he didn't test like a freak, and in today's NFL, everyone wants athletic freaks. And look right here, I'm not going to get trade crazy because if I get too trade crazy in my drafts, but I would make this trade, honestly, move down 4 spots and pick up an additional 3rd rounder. We won't make any more trades like that. I don't see make a lot of these trades, but just so we have a somewhat reasonable amount of draft picks, we'll stay put. But someone like Brian Branch, because he didn't test like an absolute freak, he could slip a little bit because we are literally, I guess, drafting the 2 positions that the players that the mock community always rates, that always fall, are running backs and safeties. It's just a position that's not overly valued in the league, which maybe makes this mock draft trash because I don't know how your Roseman might not value these. But something that I do want to say before we just start burning through some picks here is Howie Roseman was on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, New Heights, and he said something pretty interesting. They were talking about, they actually mentioned Bijan Robinson and all these different things, and Howie Roseman said that knowing when it's time to zig when the rest of the league thinks you're going to zag is very important for him staying on top, because they're kind of talking about how it's a copycat league, and a lot of teams are going to see how the Philadelphia Eagles went from the Carson Wentz debacle into a Super Bowl contender in a very, very quick time. And like knowing that Howie Roseman thinks that teams are starting to pick up on the trends of the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe they want to use that to manipulate how we draft, how Philadelphia, knowing that, like, if, for example, at 18, Bijan Robinson, they take that. Maybe someone team like the Chargers here, ironically enough, because things don't look good with Eckler, They're like, oh, well, how we're not going to trade up ahead of the Eagles because they're not going to draft a running back. We can get Bijan Robinson to be an Austin Eckler replacement. Then zigging and just absolutely just poaching someone that the Chargers, for example, thought were going to be there. Like, that's an example of Howie Roseman just trying to switch it up a little bit and maybe bucking the trends and the reputation that he only drafts there in the trenches. And that's what we did here with these 2 picks. Next up at pick 55. Interesting board, to say the least. It's one of those things now. If this happened, if we had pick 55 and we went Bijan Robinson, there's definitely going to be more than enough people saying we could have went somewhere else at 18 and then got Jahmyr Gibbs Jahmyr Gibbs here at 55. I don't think there's a great shot that Jahmyr Gibbs is still available at 55. But that would be an argument that could be had. If we could have grabbed an edge rusher, could have built through the trenches here at 18 and then get Jahmyr Gibbs at 55, would we be further ahead? Looking back big picture at the mock draft, probably. But there still is levels to this, and Bijan Robinson is a level ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs if you're ranking the wide receivers in this year's draft class. So at 55, look at the offensive linemen that are available. I think we probably should look at a tackle. Lane Johnson's not getting any younger. Need a swing tackle replacement for Andre Dillard. But knowing that we have Jeff Stoutland on the roster, that is when you get your athletes. I would rather get a Jordan Mailata type pick, in day 3, very good athlete that Stoutland can develop the technique. And they kind of actually talked about it as well, Howie Roseman on that Kelsey's podcast. Like, that's what he wants. He has no problem drafting good players that the technique might not be particularly good because Jeff Stoutland can coach it out of them. So knowing that, like, that kind of information, players that fit that, like Jalen Duncan's a great athlete, Blake Freeland is a good athlete. Going down here a little bit, Trevor Reed is a great athlete out of Louisville. We could get him late. There's a big guy that I'll probably will actually end up drafting. Spoiler, Jake Witt. I don't know. He's literally the last one. He's right there. He doesn't even make the cutoff. He had like an insane RAS. He was a converted tight end or something like that. Like, ridiculous athlete. That's the kind of guy you get. And then see if Stoutland can develop him. If we didn't, work out that extension with Lane Johnson, essentially Lane Johnson's here for the next 3 years. So I think the fact that he's there, it's not going to prioritize drafting a tackle. I think someone like Cody Mock could also be interested just because of his versatility. But we got to make the assumption that second-round pick last year's draft, Cam Jurgens, is going to play guard this year. He is going to be our Isaac Seumalo replacement. And then eventually he will kick into center to replace Jason Kelce. I think it's fair to assume that Kelce only has 1 more year left. So, I could actually see them going like this. Like, that's why in the first round, someone like Peter Skoronski has some validity because, A, it does fit the Howie Roseman mentality of building through the trenches. And B, it's future-proofing that guard spot. Skoronski can come in and be right guard right away. And then, while it might stunt Cam Jurgens' development just a little bit, we're not going to be complaining about that pick next year if Kelce retires and we have our offensive line complete again. So there is definitely some value there. Damn. We got some D linemen, edge rusher. I'm not a huge fan of the edge rushers that are available still. Trenton Simpson could be value here at 55 at linebacker. My issue is I have some value linebackers that I like a little bit more. And I don't want to just make this mock draft me getting guys that are slipping. Because, is Simpson still going to be there at 55, 10 spots, 11 spots below where he was expected to go? I'm not so sure. Would have loved Julius Brents to still be available. Height, weight, speed corner out of Kansas State. But there is still some height, weight, speed available in this draft. Tyrique Stevenson, Darius Rush, Corey Trice from Purdue, Riley Moss. We got some height, weight, speed because that's what you want. We signed away Sean Desai from the Seattle Seahawks as our new defensive coordinator. And what was the shining light of that Seattle Seahawks defense last year was the development of Tyrique Woolen. So you kind of want to get those guys in the building. But I do think at 55, if I wasn't cheesing it, I probably would grab Trenton Simpson just because he's a ridiculous athlete. And we don't really know who's going to be that second linebacker right now on the team outside of Nakobe Dean. But just so this mock draft isn't me just taking guys, because we got Brian Branch. That's a favorable role to get him at 30. I won't go Simpson here, and I will actually kind of pivot a little bit. And I'm going to get Keanu Benton at defensive tackle. There's your Howie Roseman pick. And, he kind of fits. He's a very, very high upside D tackle. As much as I'd be happy with any 3 of these. Between Benton, Ika, and Dexter. Dexter's the best athlete of the bunch, but I think Keanu Benton will be able to come in and probably be D tackle 4 next season. And for how much we like to rotate the defensive line, that's a really solid pick. Don't tell me Trenton Simpson's still available. Okay, Trenton Simpson's off the board, so at least we won't go in that direction. 62. Interesting. Okay. I have an idea. I have an idea how I want this to go now. Let me just see what we got here. Dang. All right, we'll get Tyrique Stevenson just because I think the drop-off at corner is considerable enough. Really, the pick was between Tyrique Stevenson, Cody Mock. That was really the two. We're gonna keep rejecting these trades. I don't need to make any more. We're now here at 94, and I'm gonna get my favorite sleeper wide receiver in this year's draft class, Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. He has that dog in him. He literally looks like a mini AJ Brown. He had a success. He's been solid. He's had a couple highlight reel catches at Ole Miss, but really took his game to the next level when he moved into the slot. He's a big slot. He's a powerful wide receiver. Unreal Raz. I liked him before he even tested and proved that he was a bona fide stud. And I think for the Philadelphia Eagles, we probably should end the Quez Watkins experiment at slot wide receiver. I think Quez Watkins is going to be a lot more versatile to the Philadelphia Eagles as like our shot play, deep threat wide receiver 4 on the outside. Someone like Mingo right away. You know, the fact that Mingo now, I likely would assume if we made this pick, given how highly I think of him, he'd be our new starting slot wide receiver. And then you have Bijan Robinson, who could do everything out of the backfield. We're feeling pretty good about this one. So going into pick, we have 152. We'll just scroll down a little bit so we can get all the picks in screen. Where do we want to go? I think we still can go offensive line and linebacker. That's kind of where I want to prioritize. We've got to get an edge rusher. I just don't think edge is as big of a need as people are making it out to be for the Philadelphia Eagles. So looking at what we have, what do we have available at edge? I'll tell you what, the edge market is not looking particularly hot. Maybe we waited a little long. But that's fine. Because what we're going to do is we're going to draft Yasir Abdullah at pick 152. Insane athlete, and his production at Louisville has been ridiculous. He's a tackle for loss machine. I feel like stylistically, he also will fill the depth rotational role behind Hassan Reddick. Like right now, I think it's Patrick Johnson on the Eagles, and Yasir Abdullah is just a different type of athlete. So I don't think you can really plug and play him as like he's going to be another linebacker for us, but I think he's more of a pass rush, outside linebacker type role. And there's our edge. Like I'd more so classify this is our edge rusher, our pass rusher, versus getting a true off-ball linebacker. All right, we're gonna keep on keeping on here. I really wish the edge market was looking a little. I do have. I can grab us a sleeper edge. I can wait a little bit for that, and there is some Canadian bias when we get to that. But I like Jalen Redmond a lot as well out of Oklahoma. Very underrated. Nice interior pass rusher. A little bit different than Keanu Benton, who's more well-rounded. Look at the linemen that are available. I really like Ricky Stromberg, but Cam Jurgens is going to be our center, and he's a center as well, but a very good athlete. Dang. Could use tight end. Brenton Strange is really good value still here at 183. I wish DTR was still here. Like if I got the perfect role, Dorian Thompson-Robinson would be our fit. What's the big board look like? The overall big board. We got some tight ends. Man, this is really interesting. I'm going to think outside the box here. I'm going to go Ricky Stromberg because I'm going to throw a hypothetical in here of I think he'd be my highest graded player available still. What if Cam Jurgens successfully transitions as a guard, as our right guard? What if Cam Jurgens looks excellent at guard, picks up, plays at an equal level to what we're getting from Isaac Seumalo? You might not want to, mix and match with that again. You might not want to, maybe Cam Jurgens was drafted as a center and became our guard. And if that's the case, then we're still going to need that Jason Kelce successor and Ricky Stromberg, outstanding athlete, really, really underrated, I think, throughout this draft process. So we're going to go against the grain there and assume that Jurgens can stay at guard, and then you get Ricky Stromberg there. So in terms of needs, I still think we can get a tackle. I still think we could look for linebacker, like an actual see-ball, get-ball type linebacker, but I'm not going to lie. I don't have that steal. I don't have that ridiculous late round. That guy's going to be not like maybe Mapu. I don't know a whole lot about his game. So first up, looking at the avail. Let's finish this one. If this was the board, these are the guys that we still got. I'm thinking... Oh, it's a tough one. I'm thinking I'd go height, weight, speed in Bryce Ford Wheaton. 6, he was the guy that ran the fast 40-yard dash time. Height, weight, speed. He's the height, weight, speed wide receiver, I think, in this year's draft class. Just more so adding more weapons. And then with our final pick, we're getting the newest member of Jeff Stoutland U in Jake Witt, the tackle out of Northern Michigan. D+, very much like when Jordan Mailata got picked. That was a D+-like selection, but he is a first-class All-American graduate from Jeff Stoutland U, and I think I'm gambling on the athlete here, Jake Witt. S-tier type athlete at the tackle position. Very much a project-type player, but I think that's the kind of guy that you get when you have... That's the value you get out of paying Jeff Stoutland likely the top money any assistant is making in the NFL, is that he could take guys like this and make them into starters in the NFL. And we got height, weight, speed. We got a Kelsey successor, assuming Juergens can stick on at guard. We got depth behind Hassan Riddick and a great athlete and a pass rusher and Absir Abdullah. We got our new starting slot wide receiver in Jonathan Mingo. We got our corner 3 developmental height, weight, speed alongside Greedy Williams in Tyrique Stevenson. We got a nice rotational piece for the defensive line in Keanu Benton, who maybe not the biggest need for the Philadelphia Eagles, but the value was there at 55. We got a brand new starting safety in Brian Branch. They do it all. Safety, line. He just did everything in the star position for Alabama. And we got Bijan freaking Robinson. So I hope you guys did enjoy this mock draft. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. I will be dropping probably next week my final, maybe trying to predict the pick. Not necessarily what I would do mock draft, but predicting how I think the draft's going to go type mock draft next week. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And there'll be other Madden videos popping up on the channel this week. So make sure you stay tuned. But if it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go check out more C4. Check out that channel, support that channel. Lots of content dropping on there over the next 2 weeks and probably beyond. Probably beyond. For sure, beyond. And I'll see you guys back in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.